you work for. I might want to get around to that one of these days. Okay, our next writer, his name is John Arends. He's an award-winning poet, author, playwright, and screenwriter. His screenplay, Trice, has recently been spotlighted by the Blacklist website and is being presented to Warner Brothers this coming week by the Blacklist for consideration of a new blind script deal. This screenplay depicts the story of Jack Trice, the only African American to have a major college football stadium named in his honor. John runs a small business-to-business ad agency based in the old Challenge Windmill Factory right down here in Batavia, and tonight he is going to be reading a selection from that screenplay, Trice. John.
Thank you, Kevin. This place is so terrific and fascinating. In the way everything sort of, the selections work into a conversation. And there's a connection here. Our whole family is about Iowa State. This Jack Trice story takes place at Iowa State and is a true story. But I was on the gymnastics team, and we learned that our coach, back when he was a gymnast in Michigan, worked his way through college with a nightclub act on a unicycle and under the name of Fast Eddie. And the first poem that I ever had published in a real way was from an English professor who drove, and I kid you not, a yellow Carmagia. And it's stunning. And then the poetry, the self-publishing world, Michael's from back here. I'm one of those people saying, here's my poetry book, self-published, and did a little label on it called the Arboretum, because my favorite place when I was growing up here was the Morton Arboretum as a place to get back to nature. And so it's just really kind of very cool to see how we're all connected somehow. And the final one with Michael is that this story is true. It took place back in 1923, and as we head into the future with everything that he described, I think one of the things we really need to find that moral compass again is our stories that are timeless stories. And while we were there in the 70s, the story of Jack Trice got into a lot of people's heads and bloods and hearts. And it took 20 years to get the name changed, but 30 years to really have it dressed out. But today, there is only one major college football stadium named in honor of an African American, and that's shocking that there's only one. But for Iowa State, that they got it done, there's a great timeless kind of lesson there. So I've been working my whole adult life, as my wife Ann would say, to just take that story and try to put it in a form where people outside of Iowa can take it and watch it on their iPhones, as Michael would say. So I wrote a screenplay about it. This is the first 7 pages. I'm not an actor, so I wish I could deliver the goods on it. It is being shopped around there by Sally Richardson, is an actress widely known. She is attached as the first director. It's a little indie project, so we're trying to raise some money for it now. But this is how it opens. And I'll read all of the exteriors and interiors. A screenplay is really a blueprint for a movie. And the words are supposed to start spinning the film in the heads of the people. Hopefully the people have the money to pay for it. So, all right, excuse me, let me do this. Has anybody ever heard of Jack Trice? Heard the story? Okay. I should probably set it up then. He has his name on a football stadium. It is on campus, in a major college campus. Those things are the Coliseums. To have a statue out front of the United Center is one thing. To have your name on that building is pretty darn cool. He didn't win the Heisman. He didn't rush for 10,000 yards. He played in one game back in 1923. It was his first game, and he was injured so badly that he died 2 days later of injuries from that game. But they found a little note that he had written to himself the night before. It was kind of a pep talk, and it said, "To whom it may concern, my thoughts before the first real college game of my life, the honor of my race, family, and self is at stake. Everyone is expecting me to do big things. I will," it's underscored. And then it was a little sort of defensive, be on your toes, watch for crossbucks, and some football stuff. And then it closed, be on your toes every minute if you expect to make good. And he tucked it in his pocket, played the game the next day, was hurt so bad they took him home on a train, and 2 days later he passed away. And on campus they found the note and they wrote it. Or they read it to 4,000 people on the campus of Iowa State, put it on a plaque, put that plaque on the gym wall, and then everyone's forgot about it. Until 1977, when the stadium ground was broken for the stadium. And some students and some professors found the note on the wall, had an idea. It's the only athlete to ever die wearing the colors of Iowa State. Why not name it after an idea? So it was that spirit that really kind of opens the movie. So here we go. Kevin, I'm sorry, this is long. Over black, words in white, in quotes. It is not our purpose to become each other. It is to recognize each other, to learn to see the other and honor him for who he is and what he is. Herman Hesse. Fade in, exterior, train station, Minneapolis, day. Pairs of hands, some wrapped and torn in bloody strips of cloth, grab the wooden handles of a canvas stretcher. Heavy and awkward, it rises as other hands join in. A voice calls out off stage, "Lift, lift him higher." Train platform, 6 young men in their late teens and early 20s, wearing college letter jackets circa 1920s, lift the stretcher over their heads. Arms of other teammates reach out from the open door of a Pullman luggage car. Superimpose, October 6, 1923, Minneapolis, Minnesota. On the stretcher is Jack Trice, 21, a stout African-American wearing a mud-covered football uniform. He struggles to sit up in spite of great pain as he's jostled into the rail car. Interior, luggage car, day. Jack's teammates prop the stretcher across stacked bales of hay. A porter, black, breaks apart some of the bales, creating a straw bed. Dick Stallman, 22, a muscular tractor of an Iowa farm kid, and Wheels Bartos, rotund and sweating, pitch in to help. The porter looks surprised. Iowa State head football coach Sam Williman, 29, climbs into the car. Street punk tough with rivet-hard eyes, still flaring with anger, Williman is the anti-Newt Rockne. Coach Williman, "Come on, ladies, get him comfortable." Jack shoves a few hands aside, swings his legs off the stretcher, forcing a gritty, pain-etched smile. "Did we win?" Stallman, "What'd they say at the hospital?" Bartos, "Yeah, how you feeling?" "Like this train sitting on top of me. A little cold, too." Williman, "Take a load off down in the hay." Stallman says, "Wait a sec." He takes off his letter jacket and wraps it around Jack's shoulders. Jack looks at it in disbelief as if he's just been knighted. Stallman, "For playing in your first big-time college game." Then Stallman tugs gently at the leather belt, cinching Jack's left arm against his chest, an improvised sling. "Better give Kingman his belt back. He near mooned 50,000 people after you took it from him." The players laugh. Jack starts to join them, then coughs and buckles in agony. Stallman and Bartos catch him, set him gingerly onto the hay bed. Williman is the first to see the blood on Jack's hand from the cough. Then they all see the red droplets sprayed across the golden A for Ames on the letter jacket. Everyone looks up at Coach Williman, grim, stoic silence. Jack, "What was the score?" Stallman, "Doesn't matter. We kicked their collective so hard they won't find it till next week." The train whistle sounds and the rail car rocks into motion. Coach Williman, all right, men, give him some room to breathe. The players move past Jack, some nodding, others just stare down at the torn uniform streaked with blood and grass stains. As they file out of the car, Stallman pulls Williman aside. What'd the doctor say? Coach Williman, that he's okay to travel back to Ames. He's going to be swell. Each searches the other's eyes for belief, reassurance, finding none. Exterior, rural Minnesota, railroad, day. The steam engine blasts through rolling pastures. Interior, luggage car, continuous. Jack rocks with the swaying rail car, eyes wide. He's fixated on the sunset and rolling pastures framed in the open door. Williman, maintaining a quiet vigil, breaks the silence. Thinking about the game? Jack shakes his head. My father. Pastures, sunset, Jack's point of view. Jack falls silent as he watches a herd of horses gallop up a grassy slope. A plume of dust, reddish in the fading light, rises in their wake, the sky going up in flames above them. Dissolve to, superimpose 13 years earlier, July 4th, 1910, Pittsburgh, PA. Exterior, Main Street, shantytown, flashback. 6 wild-eyed horses stampede past 8-year-old young Jack, huddled on the steps of a wooden storefront. Hooves thunder by, kicking up mud. An oil lamp crashes through the store window and fireballs explode behind the shell-shocked boy. Gangs of white rioters storm through the black shantytown in wagons and on horsebacks, hurling lamps and torches at everything in sight. Women screaming, men shouting, flames erupting everywhere as the chaos of a race riot engulfs young Jack's world. Main Street. Panicked throngs of women dash across the street in front of young Jack. A small girl, maybe 5, stumbles and falls. An out-of-control horse and buggy fly toward her. Jack dashes out, sweeps her up, dives and rolls. Hooves thunder by them. Buggy wheels whiz by, missing by inches. From the back of the buggy, a bundle of burning newspapers hurtles toward them. Jack shields the child. The firebomb thumps off his back, knocking him over. His shirt ignites as the young girl dashes away. Young Jack rolls in the dirt, the flames going out. He stares wide-eyed at the still burning newspapers. The headline reads, Jack Johnson wins world heavyweight title. A loud voice calls out, Johnny Trice! Smoke and flames swirl around a silhouetted horseman. It's his father, Green Trice, a strapping man in his mid-30s, his face intense, focused, searching. Young Jack frantically waves his arms. Green Trice spots his son, swings his horse around hard. The horse pounds toward the boy. Gunshots crack overhead. Street lamps shatter. Jack rushes toward his father, who snares the boy and swings him up behind him on the saddle. Exterior, burning Main Street, continuous. They gallop through town, young Jack holding on for dear life. The pair races around a corner, straight into a gang of hooligans, some on horseback, others in wagons. Green makes a split-second decision, kicks the horse hard. Hang on! The Trice horse charges and leaps over a low-riding wagon. The men duck and scramble, their torches falling, igniting firebombs on the wagon floor. The wagon explodes into flames, men jumping clear, running, some on fire, staggering, dropping. Young Jack sees 3 horsemen break free and come after them. Exterior, barge terminal, continuous. The Trice horse bolts down a dirt road into a riverfront barge terminal. To their left, the Allegheny River. On the right, a cliff rises behind low storage buildings and holding pens for coal. Behind them, 2 hooligans on horseback round the corner. Only one way to run. The Trices charge down the riverfront, leaping over stone retaining walls, ducking under the trestle of a loading platform, weaving through scattered piles of gravel, scrap iron. Young Jack sees the 2 horsemen carrying axe handles, closing the gap. Warehouse ramp. 50 yards ahead of the Trice horse, the other horseman tears down the warehouse ramp, cutting them off. Green reins the horse hard. It rears up. Young Jack almost sliding off. His father snags him, shoves him back in place, all the while searching for a way out. He spots something. Hang on. Young Jack twists his fists into his father's shirt as the horse charges back the way they came, heading straight at the two club wielders, galloping side by side, raising their clubs, wicked smiles. Young Jack's eyes go wide in terror. 40 yards, 30, 20 yards, clubs rising, ready to strike. Green yanks the reins hard left, and they cut up a dirt slope path carved into the cliff wall. It ends 5 feet shy of a low roof storage shed. The trice horse leaps the gap, hooves clatter along the steel roof. The hooligans charge past, looking up in astonishment. Young Jack leans out, seeing ahead the roof ending at the barge loading platform, a cantilevered trestle stretching out over the river. Behind them, Jack hears the clatter of all 3 horsemen on the roof, closing in. Green kicks his heels hard, urging the horse headlong out onto the platform, charging straight at the river. Young Jack sees the platform ending in only blue sky. The hooligans swing up behind them, charging onto the platform. The trice horse gallops, leaps into thin air, spindly legs outstretched, both riders silhouetted. Whomp! The horse lands atop an enormous mound of coal in the center of the belly of a river barge, already beginning to slide free of the loading dock. Green and Young Jack tumble over the horse's neck, rolling down the slope of coal. Loading platform. The 3 horsemen pull up at the edge, cursing. On the barge, Green scrambles to his son, who's face down in coal, flips him over, brushes black coal dust from his eyes and cheeks. Are you okay, son? Stunned, the boy looks up and sees the defeated horseman. Then he crawls back up to where the horse struggles to keep balance on the shifting coal. He runs his hands up and down the horse's legs, checking for injuries. His eyes flash with amazement. You never told me horses could fly. Wrap it then. So.